This is Ikea Hood, a 17-year-old new mother of one of three from Dallas, Texas. Just 3 weeks postpartum, she should have been celebrating the start of motherhood. Instead, she would be killed in her own bedroom by the very person she was supposed to trust, her 17-year-old boyfriend. On the morning of January 7, 2023, at around 10:40 a.m., Dallas police rushed to a home on Grambling Drive after a frantic 911 call. What they found inside was devastating. Inside the home, they found Ikea's mother cradling her daughter's lifeless body, unable to comprehend the horror before her eyes. Just minutes earlier, Ikea had invited her boyfriend over for what she thought would be a difficult conversation, a painful truth she was ready to share. But instead of words, he brought a weapon, and in that moment, he was prepared to take her life.
Mom, shut up!
But before we uncover the chilling evidence that points to her killer, let's rewind to the start of this tragic story. Ikea Imari Hood, affectionately called Kia, was a 17-year-old dancer, a bright student, and a new mother. She was an active member of the Lancaster High School Tigerette drill team, recognized for her incredible talent and hard work. Her dance instructors often marveled at her ability to make complex routines appear effortless, a quality that set her apart from her peers. Kia was a force of nature in the hallways of Lancaster High School. Students would often pause between classes to watch her practice dance moves, her body flowing with a grace that seemed impossible for someone so young. As a junior and star performer on the Tigerette drill team, Kia commanded attention not through loudness, but through the quiet perfection of her movements. When Kia danced, you couldn't look away. She had this ability to make difficult routines appear effortless. That's rare, especially in someone who was just 17. But Kia's talents extended far beyond the walls of her school. She was a fierce believer in her dreams and worked tirelessly toward a future she knew would be filled with accomplishments. In addition to her passion for dance, Kia had recently become a mother to a baby girl, Ice Lynn, just 3 weeks before. Despite her age, she took on motherhood with incredible dedication, balancing her desire to pursue collegiate dance with the responsibilities of raising a child. She often told her family that her daughter Ice Lynn was her inspiration for everything she was working toward. At home, Kia was the vibrant center of a large, loving family. As one of 8 siblings, she learned early how to stand out while still being a team player. Family gatherings showcased her playful side. Her serious dancer persona transformed into the goofy sister who organized impromptu talent shows in the living room and taught her younger siblings routines she'd created herself. Family meant everything to her, and she made sure that each of them felt seen, loved, and cared for. Kia's family described her as the glue that held them together, the one who always made sure everyone felt included and supported. Her bright smile and contagious laughter brought life to any room, and she was the kind of person who made everything seem possible. Her hunger to grow and learn was insatiable. Kia dreamed of a life filled with achievement, and she was determined to chase her goals, particularly her dream of becoming a professional dancer. She worked every day toward building a future for herself and her daughter, planning to attend college and pursue dance at the highest level. With her discipline, talent, and determination, her potential seemed limitless. Kia had everything to look forward to: a loving family, a promising future in dance, and a beautiful new life with her daughter.
So y'all, we inside our phone. We thugging, chilling, bobbing, weaving, teeing, up. Y'all see the lace? Melted down, pretty, fine, cute. Is melted. Don't play. Look with Kayla, my sister. Granny Shirley.
You leave me alone.
But on January 7, 2023, that future was tragically taken from her. The events of that day began like any other Sunday morning for Kia. She had spent the morning caring for her newborn daughter, but there was something else Kia was anxiously waiting on. She was preparing for a conversation that little did she know would end up costing her life. Kia had recently learned from a paternity test that her ex-boyfriend, 17-year-old Trevon Darnell Wright, was not the father of her child, a truth that Kia planned to share with him that day. Have you ever had a feeling of dread before something happened? Let me know in the comments whether you believe in such premonitions, because that was the same thing Kia felt, as this would be the beginning of a chilling series of events. At around 9:47 a.m., Trevon arrived at Kia's house just as Kia had planned. She had her family nearby and her daughter safely in the nursery. But what should have been a challenging but necessary conversation soon escalated into something far more dangerous. A simple discussion about paternity turned into an argument filled with accusations and escalating tension. The exact details of their exchange remain unclear, but what we do know is that by 10:30 a.m., a gunshot rang out from the bedroom. Kia's mother, Takoya Lester, who had been nearby, heard the sound and rushed toward her daughter's room, her heart pounding in her chest. The fear was immediate and suffocating. She pounded on the locked bedroom door, frantically calling for her daughter, but there would be no response. Desperation filled her, and she turned to the window, praying for any sign that Kia was okay. She rushed outside and looked through the window. What she saw inside was every mother's worst nightmare. Kia lay motionless on the floor, blood pooling around her. She had been shot in the chest at close range. The room showed signs of a struggle: a knocked-over lamp, a chair pushed aside, and a shattered phone on the floor. But perhaps the most chilling detail was Trevon Wright's hasty escape. The screen of the window had been pushed outward, indicating that he had fled the scene in a rush, leaving Kia to bleed out alone, without any help.
This hurt. I stopped in the window and I touched the baby and I grabbed her hair. I couldn't see all of that.
On January 7th last year, police say 17-year-old Ikea Hood was shot and killed in her family's home on Grambling Drive. Hood was shot feet away from her 3-week-old baby girl, her first child. Family says Hood was a junior at Lancaster High School and a member of the Tigerette drill team. U.S. Marshals arrested Trevon Wright, who was also 17 at the time. The family says Wright and Hood had been dating, but broke things off after Hood discovered Wright wasn't the father of her baby. In an arrest affidavit, Lester says Wright was at her home visiting Hood and the baby when a gunshot sounded from Hood's bedroom. Lester says the door was locked, so she went outside and climbed halfway through the window, finding Wright gone and her daughter unmoving.
I rolled her over. She was laying on her side. I rolled her over.
Wright was charged with first-degree murder. In defending him today, Wright's attorney argued that no one saw his client pull the trigger.
You're trying to figure it out because you were not in the room when the gun discharged, correct?
Correct.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
NBC5 spoke with a trial expert not involved in the case who tells us the emotional testimony from Hood's family could significantly impact jurors.
I can tell you that when a particularly sympathetic victim or family member of a victim testifies, it can sway jurors to go in a direction they might otherwise not go in. That absolutely is the case.
For the victim's family, a difficult process of wading through one of the worst days of their lives.
Yes, I'm having to relive this all over again.
By 10:40 a.m., Dallas police officers arrived at the scene on Grambling Drive. Inside the home, they found Kia's mother cradling her daughter's lifeless body, unable to believe what her eyes were seeing. The paramedics confirmed Kia's death at the scene, and investigators began their work to piece together what had happened. Kia's mother immediately told the police about the planned conversation between Kia and Trevon, as well as the toxic and unstable nature of their on and off relationship. The police quickly identified Trevon as the prime suspect, with the paternity test revelation acting as a likely motive for his violent response. He had arrived at Kia's house expecting to confront her, but that confrontation quickly turned deadly.
Hey y'all, welcome back to another In Killing Color Crime Quickie. So this is a really sad story. Any stories involving teenagers is always sad to me. So here is 17-year-old Ikea Hood, and this story took place in Texas. So Ikea was pregnant, and she found out that her boyfriend was not the father of the baby. She told him, he got upset, and he unalived her. They had been together for 2 years, not a very long relationship. Getting together with somebody when you're 15, it is a childish relationship. That's my opinion, whatever. However, he was so upset about the paternity of the kid that he took it upon himself to unalive this girl. And now the baby has no mom. The dad is going to jail. And I don't know. What y'all think? Let's chat.
As the investigation unfolded, Dallas law enforcement issued an arrest warrant for Trevon on January 8th, just 1 day after the shooting. The manhunt for Trevon began immediately, with the U.S. Marshals joining in the search. Police soon learned that Trevon had been at the scene, likely involved in the argument leading to the tragic shooting, but by the time the officers arrived, he had fled the area, but not for too long. On January 9th, after 48 hours of hiding, 17-year-old Trevon Darnell Wright was eventually apprehended, and he was booked into the Dallas County Jail where he faced charges related to Kia's tragic death. As police investigators pieced together the tragic events of January 7th, the timeline became clearer, shedding light on the sequence of events that led to the heartbreaking loss of Kia.
Ikea's family told us there'd been a history of domestic violence between the two. They've shared her story with us, hoping it might encourage even just one woman in an abusive relationship to leave.
I would hate for any other family to be in the situation that me and my family are in right now, where we're burying our 17-year-old sister and niece and daughter and cousin, and my niece is burying her mother. If you're in this situation, if you have a baby or you're not, just leave. It's not worth it. Your life is way more precious and valuable. Please just leave and get the help that you deserve.
"17-year-old high school student Trevon Wright had been in a tumultuous on and off relationship with Kia Hood for over 2 years. Their relationship, which had once been filled with promise, was marred by recurring cycles of emotional volatility and at times physical abuse. Despite these warning signs, Kia and Trevon continued their complicated relationship, driven by unresolved feelings and an unspoken connection. But the relationship would soon take a step further. Kia found out she was pregnant. For months, Trevon believed he was the father of her child, a belief that he embraced, at least outwardly. He appeared to accept his role as the parent-to-be, and the idea of parenthood became a cornerstone of his identity, tying him ever more closely to Kia. But the truth about the paternity of the child shattered that perception. Kia had learned through a paternity test that Trevon was not the father of her child, but no one could have predicted how this revelation would escalate or that it would ultimately end in murder. Kia's family had long been aware of the toxic nature of her relationship with Trevon. They saw the emotional toll it took on her, the way she struggled to break free from the cycle of abuse. Domestic violence experts often describe the dangerous patterns in abusive relationships, where tensions build, subside, and then return with even greater intensity. This destructive cycle had been a constant in Kia's life, and though she sought to move forward, the relationship kept pulling her back. The news of the paternity test was the final blow.
Hi, my name is Akia, and I don't have a bad tooth. Akia! Girl, I'm trying to talk!
Kia had hoped to move on, but the confrontation with Trevon was inevitable. She invited him to her home to share the difficult news, despite the chaos their relationship had always brought. Her family was nearby, and she felt the security of having them around. She thought that perhaps in their home, the discussion would remain civil and the truth could be shared without violence. What makes this case particularly tragic is the trust Kia placed in the idea that she could control Trevon's reaction. Many victims of domestic violence, particularly in young relationships, share this similar misconception, the belief that their knowledge of their partner's behaviors and
Hi, look.
You look ugly. Turn around.
No, restart the video. Kayla, I'm gonna put you on your page and you don't restart that video.
Why her contour be so hard?
Hey, y'all, what's up, y'all?
Oh, you done started saying.
Kayla, tell her what you just said.
Why her contour so hard? She didn't do a line on her face.
Y'all, Kayla finna go to work. It's my birthday. Hey, it's my birthday, Papa. And my Papa, what? We look like some ratchet old people. Jay, say hey, baby. This motherfucker that
Ooh, that was off that pole, y'all.
Ooh. That ball, girl.
See the clock in there.
emotions gives them the power to manage those reactions, even when the news they have to share is devastating. Kia, like so many victims, may have believed that by facing Trevon head-on and telling him the truth, she could avoid a violent reaction.
Say. Put a camera. Put a camera. Look at it, y'all. It's so curly. Look at your little curly hair, girl. She said, "Hey,
Kia, why is you doing?
Girl, she is doing her edges.
She got edges on, period. Don't play with that girl.
She got a lot of edges too. Like you can use a lot.
Tyson, what did you eat on?
Her sideburns is long.
Put a camera. Put a camera.
But the reality of this volatile relationship was far different. The combination of emotions, anger, jealousy, and betrayal created a perfect storm for violence. In volatile relationships, issues surrounding parenthood can be particularly explosive. The intense emotions surrounding paternity disputes, coupled with questions of masculinity, reputation, and financial responsibility, make these situations even more dangerous. Unfortunately, this storm of emotions and insecurities led to the worst outcome, one that Kia's family could never have prepared for.
And you gonna pick up that cake.
Wait a minute.
Linda, listen to me.
Foot. You don't feed me.
As investigators sifted through the evidence at the crime scene, they'd uncovered disturbing details. The locked bedroom door, the open window, and the blood-stained carpet all told a chilling story of violence and desperation. It was clear that Trevon had arrived with one goal in mind: to confront Kia and ultimately to silence her. The Dallas Police Department, with the help of U.S. Marshals, acted quickly to track Trevon down. Their efforts paid off when he was located in the Dallas area on January 9th, just 2 days after the shooting. Trevon was arrested and booked into the Dallas County Jail, where he faced charges related to Kia's tragic death. This swift action by law enforcement was a relief to Kia's grieving family, but it brought little solace.
We ain't got no snacks or nothing. Nothing.
That's not my problem, because I got snacks.
Where? Them funky old legs.
No.
You got them funky old legs.
I came in with some
That don't
snacks.
Where?
In my room.
What kind?
I don't got no snack, bro. Let me...
No arrest, no matter how swift, could bring back Kia or fill the void her death left in their lives. For her family, the loss of the vibrant young woman they loved was a wound that no justice could fully heal. 17-year-old Trevon Wright was charged with the murder of Kia Hood, and investigators continued to uncover chilling details about his behavior leading up to the crime. According to Trevon's arrest affidavit, he was devastated after learning that he was not the father of Kia's newborn daughter, Ice Lynn. For months, he had believed that the child was his, and in a moment of intense humiliation and emotional volatility, Trevon made the tragic decision to take Kia's life. In the days following the arrest, the Dallas County Court set Trevon's bond at $500,000. Which was a clear indication of the severity of the charges he faced. He was charged with first-degree murder, and authorities made it clear that they would pursue the case with the full force of the law. But for Kia's family, the arrest did little to ease the pain of their unimaginable loss. The senseless violence that claimed their beloved Kia had left an irreplaceable void in their hearts. The arrest of Trevon Wright was only the beginning of a long, painful journey for Kia Hood's family. With Trevon in custody and charged with first-degree murder, the legal process moved into its next phase, the trial. Trevon's defense attorneys maintained that he acted out of fear, claiming that Kia had become physically aggressive and that he was simply defending himself. Despite the evidence, Trevon's defense attorneys sought to portray him as a person who acted in self-defense, claiming that Kia had made a move towards him and that he was merely protecting himself. However, the evidence, particularly the forensic analysis, painted a different picture. The gunshot wound to Kia's chest indicated a close-range execution, and the investigation revealed no signs of self-defense or provocation on Kia's part. She had been sitting in her bedroom trying to have a difficult but necessary conversation about their fractured relationship and the truth about the paternity test. The investigation revealed that Trevon had arrived at Kia's home with the intent to confront her and a .38 caliber revolver, which he had acquired just days before the shooting, was found at the scene.
There's a snake in my boot. There's a snake in my boot. There's a snake in my boot.
Do you know what I got?
Kia. Kia. I'm not about to play with her. Look at her. Y'all look at my sister.
Put it on the right.
Why is it on backwards?
She's a freaking
Late nights at Target.
The prosecution emphasized the devastating truth. This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment act of self-defense, but a premeditated murder driven by jealousy, humiliation, and a desperate attempt to cling to an identity that had been challenged. The paternity test results, which confirmed that Trevon was not the father of Kia's newborn daughter, had shattered the fragile balance of their already fractured relationship. The prosecution argued that this truth, combined with Wright's anger and emotional instability, led him to make the tragic decision to kill Kia. In January 17, 2025, justice was finally delivered in a Dallas County courtroom. The jury had deliberated, the evidence was clear, and the verdict was unanimous. Trevon Wright was guilty of first-degree murder in the death of his girlfriend, Ikea Imari Hood. The courtroom was heavy with silence as the judge pronounced the sentence, life in prison. For Ikea's family, the words carried both relief and sorrow. Relief that her killer would never walk free again, but sorrow that no sentence could ever bring back the vibrant 17-year-old who had just become a mother. Kia's family was devastated by her death. Her mother, Tekoya Lester, was heartbroken over the loss of her daughter. Kia had always been her rock, the one who made sure everyone in the family was taken care of, the one who made family gatherings lively and joyful. She had always been there for her siblings and younger relatives, offering advice, support, and love. The shock of Kia's violent death was something no parent should ever have to endure. On the day of her death, Tekoya Lester had been just a few rooms away, unaware that her daughter's life was being tragically cut short. Kia's siblings were equally devastated. The family had always been close, and Kia was the glue that held them all together. Her younger siblings described her as someone who could shift effortlessly from being a confidant to a comedian, always ready to make them laugh or offer a shoulder to cry on. Now, they were left with only memories of her infectious energy and love. The community was equally shaken. Kia had a vibrant presence at Lancaster High School, where her peers and teachers all remembered her for her talent and determination. Students at the school held a vigil in Kia's honor, releasing balloons into the sky as a symbol of their grief. The loss of a young life with so much potential was too much for the students and staff to bear. For many, Kia's death was a stark reminder of the dangers of toxic relationships and how young people sometimes find themselves trapped in situations that escalate beyond their control. Kia's family held a memorial service where they honored her memory and began the painful process of saying goodbye. Despite their overwhelming grief, they were determined to ensure that Kia's story would be shared, that her life would not be defined by the tragic way it ended, but by the dreams she had, the love she gave, and the people she touched. What do you think about it? Let us know in the comments below. And if you found this story intriguing, please like, share, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this.
Your nipple. Your nipple. Hi, my name is Akia, and I don't have a bad tooth. Ikea. Girl, I'm trying to talk.